Throm Kamakar, and welcome to the Banner Saga. This is a tactical RPG with an absolutely gorgeous art direction and audio and music direction as well, and we're just going to jump right into it. It's got a heavy story focus. Choices matter. And the gods are dead. In their wake, man and giant survived through a tenuous alliance, driving black destroyers called Dredge deep into the northern wastes. Now is an era of growth and trade. Life goes on. Only one thing has stopped: the sun.
Að sjá dreggjana á ferli með vor. It has been several long months on the road. The first signs of snowfall accost us on our approach to Strand, largest of the trade cities on the Val-human borders, and our last collection before returning to the capital. Several days ago, the sun simply came to a stop in the sky. Though during these long winter days, none of us can be certain how long it has been this way. Some of the men in the caravan have taken it as a dire omen. I am not quick to superstition, but I myself will be glad to be done with this year's rounds. We have been warned by stranded travelers about brigands on the path through Ridgehorn, our road home. Our captain seems unconcerned. Perhaps he is as eager as I to be done here. We will rest here this day and inquire further when we speak to the governor.
Komið í höllina miklu! Gist ég leyfa oss að byggja?
And right into it.
Hverfið á braut! Engan eigi ég hlut að máli þessu!
As I said, the gorgeous game, lovely music. I've never played very far into the story, but it was intriguing when I was playing. I'm just don't know why I never finished it. I should. I have. There's a lot of story to go through. You might have seen I have this one, the second, and the third all to get through. But I've never beaten even the first one, and again, as I say, I don't remember why. because I apparently have 9 strength. So even if 2 of the damage is blocked by the armor, red pulsing tiles beneath your enemy show how close. Oh, okay, so when I'm highlighting here, they pulse to say I can hit them. Going clockwise from the target. So I want to target this one first, right? Simple enough tutorial. I was not speaking very much during that, I apologize, but
Like a rabid wolf, that one. How did it come to this? We fool ourselves believing that peace will last. My grandfather built all this from a poor fishing village, you know. He watched the gods die, watched the chaos that followed, watched man and var slaughter each other, even before the dreads arose. All we've done is traded one struggle for another. Now that there are no more dreads to war against, we war against ourselves. This chieftain meant to kill me, and he's not the first. A dozen families in the city would gladly take my chair. This one had men waylaying merchants, both north and south of the city, strangling trade, quite well, I would add, though he denied it to his last. This sort of wolf doesn't stop biting because the head is cut off. It just grows a new head. I'm in a bad way, my friend. Help me finish this fight, and I'll gladly send you on your way with double our king's tithe. Take any men you need. They're loyal, I promise you that. They will meet you down in the proving grounds.
it's just what? I've found it important to pay attention to how I should be playing this game, so I was not speaking much. You're approached by a familiar man who walks in step with you as you're leaving the Great Hall. He cuts to the chase. Okay. If I press the X, will this close this dialogue? Yes, okay. Eirik, Steward of Strand. I have a message. I manage the governor's business. Vision is not what it should be. Ubin, isn't it? It is. Governor tells me you'll be giving us a hand. What did you have in mind? Scalfings that you didn't hack up in the Great Hall scattered after you took out their chieftain. The governor just wants to make sure they stay down. Was hoping you'd join me at the marketplace by the docks. If there's anyone left to worry about, I know who can tell us. Scalfing. This was one problem I had when I was playing the game before. You can't easily tell all the they do their best to like put titles over it, but it gets very easily lost in the art because gorgeous game. So you can't really. It's a problem, but it's a problem I understand why it came about, and we're letting Eirik handle this. As we meander through rows of open-faced houses and eroded stalls, colored canvases flap on a briny current. One man in particular blanches as you approach. Had, I'm not in the mood today. For what? Talking to an idiot. Oh, wow. Scalfing's chieftain bled out about an hour ago, Had, so when you tell me that what rat anus the rest of them crawled back into, nobody's going to try to kill you this time. They don't talk to me. I'll just say nothing for right now. He told me to let him handle this, so I'll let him handle this. Gods, Eirik, laying it on a bit heavy, don't you think? Where are the Scalfings? Noblemen up by the wall, but that was months ago, last I know. Had skulks away with a wave of Eirik's hand, gathering things from his hovel. Disappearing for a while until this blows over, you figure. Your bodyguard steps forward. Are we done here? So he was just following us this whole time? You know, were you wearing green back at the Great Hall? No, just bought them while you were walking around. Why? I would say that good-naturedly. But I don't know the tone in which they'd say this. So, I'll just use you look good. I'm glad you care. And goes off to look at more stalls. Eirik, that man of yours seems unreliable. A blind dog wouldn't trust Had, but he used to be Scalfing. If they're licking their wounds, they're probably gone to old haunts, not new ones. Nobleman is a mead hall? Best I can tell. The name's ironic. Listen, I know a guy who would love to put a few of these skulls in the ground. I'm going to find him. I'll meet you there. And how are we going to do this? What a luxury. Come on, you've already mopped up worse today. Just make sure the governor remembers his promise. Double the usual. I'll remind him. Yes. And see, like, even with the title there, it's hard to tell that this... I think there's a way to make everything interactable glow. And then when, like, this is glowing, this is glowing, this is glowing, it just becomes... You get lost in the glow rather than lost in the art. No kitty. Ah, okay, I see. When there are options, they appear here. Arrive in front of what it must be the nobleman. A few minutes later, Eirik appears with a weather-beaten man introduced as Yolgard. I'll point them out, Eirik says. Ready? You're just walking through the front door. They ran to a meat house, says Volgard. I'll be surprised if they can stand up straight right now. Alright, let's go. He boots in the front door so hard it won't close again without repair. Wow. The poor meat hall. As you enter the hall, Eirik is already at the head of the table, his axe drawn. Wide-eyed, drunken Skalfings scramble to find their own weapons, turning tables and mead steins in the process. Not the way I'd have chosen to go about this business, but he moves through allies and gives them willpower. Looks like he has a axe. Shield wall, +1 armor to allies and self. Blocks damage to strength and armor with stone wall. So I can have you take care of this lot here, but that still leaves us outnumbered. This is gonna be problematic. Can I put you over here? I can. Oh. And he's going last in my line of people. I don't know that aggression is the better option here. Because even if we rush forward, we can't get to them, and that just opens them up to surround him. No, we're gonna rest for right now. I can only do 2 damage to him right now. I'd still say we hold for the moment. Oh, that's interesting. Can't attack on a diagonal. No ability. Because it's a counterattack. Now we move forward. Do I want to hit? I'll hit up these two. Going clockwise from the target. So I want to hit this one first. I could use willpower. I probably should have used willpower to down him, but Instead, I'll use less wool power to put this guy in line and finish the job. Let's get you in line with the guy offering. Nope, can't attack on the diagonal, that's right. That's all you can do. Yes, shield wall. Ooh, charged through. That ain't good. Or is it? He did just put himself right in the line of fire. I thought you were supposed to counterattack. Oh, you did. It just didn't have that noticeable of an animation. How are we looking? I see now why I need the bodyguard, because he's doing 9 even through armor, and I'm barely doing 2 or 3. That was dramatic for not actually getting too hurt. There they are. Gods be damned. I've got to go wash off this blood. Eirik is looking out the hall's windows into the sky, onto the bay. I almost said into the sky, gosh. A fleet of long ships approach with sails of bold reds and blues. One banner I know well, Vognir. Next for Varl King's ship, last we spoke. The other flag? Looks important. Yeah, important guests. See what I deal with all day long? Makes a little more sense. You hoped I'd have a stake in saying everything's fine here when the royal guests arrived. Not me, the governor. Now we have to make sure there are no rotting bodies or pools of entrails still in the Great Hall before they come by. Can I ask one more favor? Don't you think I've done enough? Alright then, do as you please. Time to go, Volgard. Eirik and Volgard hustle from the mead house. To his credit, Eirik tosses the barkeep a spar of silver for the mess. You give an apologetic shrug and go to greet the new arrivals down at the docks. Vognir. A familiar Jarl steps onto the docks. In your mind, you recall a much younger version tramping the halls of Grofheim, abundant in purpose. God, Zubin, you're looking ancient. Comes with being old. And if there's Vognir, there must be Hakon. Must there? Still bleeding tributes from the poor and stupid old yaks? At what age do you lose a sense of shame? You're under? I've dabbled in Old Norse a little bit, but I am by no means competent in that, and I am probably mispronouncing half these things. But I read that as you're under. Like, but as I say, I'm probably wrong. You're under demands it. I'll take that over Try that again. I'll take that over lingering to death in Grofheim. Speaking of, I had no sense that you were so far from home. Oh boy, more proper nouns. Just returned from Aberang, in fact. And glad for it. Hakan motions to the other ships in the bay, sails still fluttering, golden wolf head emblazoned on red. The king of men, or someone on his behalf. The king's whelp. King's son, Ludin. Don't you know, Scrivener? We visit his capital, he visits ours. That's how you make alliances these days. It's a miserable waste of time. Yes. Ah, no. Yes, Hakan has it. I'd almost forgotten. It's a good thing you're around, Hakan. Then you're going to Grofheim? I have the distinct feeling I've finished my business in Strand and was headed there myself. We should caravan. We should. Give it a day. In better circumstances, I'd drink a week away, but let's just get done with it. Find me tomorrow at the gates. What he's trying to say is the prince is a delight to behold. Where is Mager, Hakan? Have him find a place to put up the warriors. I'm headed up to meet the governor. A host of giants depart in his wake. You recognize a few. Others are strangers to you. Guess I'm off to find Mager. See you in the morning, Scrivener. I'll be along. The young prince of men ambles from his ship. He brushes off his tunic, scanning the beach with low eyelids. Ludin looks for all the worlds like the sort of boy who grew up pulling the legs from spiders. The long road back to Grofheim should be more interesting than most years, you think. Oh, joy. Weariness suddenly settles in, and you chuckle to yourself about what an odd day it has been. One of the governor's men at the great hall could find you a place to sleep. On the other hand, if you're going to join Wagner's caravan tomorrow, it might not hurt to share a drink with Hakan or introduce yourself to the prince they spoke so highly of. There's the prince. Great hall to sleep. Choices, and I don't know if I can do both. I'll do the prince. Get that out of the way. Is this the right place? You find the prince at an inn. Guards blanket the building, including a sharp-eyed Jarl who must, be working for Ludin. A woman in red eventually waves you over and stands nearby, arms crossed. Greetings, Prince Ludin. Yes, you're with Wagner. I don't remember you. Not exactly. I've known Wagner a long time. I'll be joining you back to Grofheim with my guards. Ludin looks up for the first time. The woman doesn't react. Why? I work for the king, carrying tithes to the capital. We crossed by chance. Oh, a tax collector. Fine company. What do you want? I hope to learn more about you. Oh, well, you seem to know who I am. Do you have what you need? So I do. I won't be keeping you. You leave wordlessly. It seemed clear that Ludin was in no mood to talk. Or he's a miserable cur. Yeah. It's got a spear, though. Oh, good. I could do both. Scrivener. You find Hakan in a mead house surrounded by other Jarl. Strand is no stranger to Varl, but also I keep bouncing how you pronounce the V. But rarely sees this many. Hakan waves you over. Went straight for a flagon? Vognir's the one who agreed to pass up a drink. I wasn't invited to the governor's hall anyway. You already missed the massacre. Every year I make the rounds collecting taxes. Every year it's the human settlements that give me trouble. No surprise. What this time? When I got here, the Great Hall was already full of bodies. We added a few more. Humans. I guess if I only lived as long as a Yoxfart, I might be desperate to make something of myself, too. It's not too late to start trying, Hakan. He let slip a low chuckle. Any Varl could recount his deeds, known as he is for cutting a swath through dredge at Vognir's side in the Second War, and regularly since then. Down here, I'm a glorified bodyguard. You might have a point. Just another reason to get back to Grofheim. Soon enough, I imagine. You drink until the mead house becomes overbearing, then step back into the cool air. And then with that, we go for bed. Dawn, you're woken by the delivery of goods. At least you think it's dawn. Hard to tell with a sun that never moves. Governor's crest adorns the supply leathers. Not as many as you were promised, but no time to complain now. Your guards take the treasure wagon down to the gates. Fognir's already here. A while later, Ludin and his men appear, groggy and disheveled. Mogr steps forward. Vognir's quartermaster, if you recall correctly, in charge of his unwieldy entourage of warriors. You know him only in passing. He asks if you're ready to depart, and we are, apparently. Follow Mogr and join the others. Usually the smaller doors set into the gates would be enough to enter or leave the city, but the town guards have been told to push them open entirely. They mutter things under their breath that are best not heard. Perhaps the governor expected you to draw a crowd, but there's nothing of the sort, just frustrated, tired people. It summarizes Strand well as a whole, you think. And we're on the move. Times are passing. And we're spending morale and supplies as times go. Now, renown is experience. And so, there's, you should be able to spend renown to level up your characters. I don't remember where that happens. As the caravan stops for the day, Mogr brings us a gift. Cracking open mead casks from our gracious friend, the Governor of Strand. Hours pass with raucous laughter as the mead is passed throughout camp. We'll toast to him. Raise your drink, toasting the alliance between man and Jarl. The others join in. Ludin's expression is like a stone wall, but the others laugh at your exaggerations. Eventually you sit down beside Vognir. We'll chat. Thanks for the speech. He slurs. Looks like you didn't have to miss out after all. Thanks to Mogr. I thought the damned governor would never shut up. Did he give you the history of his But did he give you the history of his entire family? He tried. Then he asked me to clean up his mess. For your benefit, turns out. I'd have given the job to you, too. Gods, there's no joy in politics. Speaking of, what happens after this business with Ludin? Hopefully the boy goes back to arboring on his own, and I can take out some frustration on Dredge or something. Starting to sound like Hakan. You don't like the life of a diplomat? You don't miss the fight, Tubin? You down your meat instead of replying. Wagner slouches and shakes his head. There's no great joy in killing Dredge, but this... Pretty sure this nonsense is some scheme between the two kings to force some kind of lineage. Used to be. Warriors would follow you for what you'd done. Isn't that why men follow you now? Is it? Or is it because I'm the next in line? These lines are getting muddy, old Varl. They've always been muddy, Wagner. Wagner stares into the campfire, lost in thought. You leave him to it. Ah, yes. Camping. This is where we can get along. Do what I was wanting to do just a minute ago. You rise groggily, the campsite a casualty of merriment. Magir is already kicking warriors awake when you spot Ludin stalking your direction. He sidesteps sleeping bodies. Better wake up, you nudge Wagner. You're needed. Ah, it's Ludin. Always a pleasure. You look well rested. Wagner releases a caged yawn and receives a hard-eyed stare in return. How long to Grofheim? We're only 2 days out of Strand, you know. Come, I'll show you on a map. Strand, and where it looks like we're heading this road. Grofheim. So, are we heading north from this point? I guess it depends where in Grofheim we're going. Last home of the Varl and seat of their power, founded by Arnfnir. The second Jarl king. Through the Varl have moved around a lot. Most consider Grofheim their capital. Deeds of Varl are honored here, and all warriors of worth are buried at the foot of the two spears, where they are said to become part of the Jarl's March itself. I could spend time here, but I'm going to spare you all that. But yeah, it looks to me like this would be the most efficient way rather than trying to go through this pass and then backtrack. I don't know if I'd make that choice. Ah, yep. We head north, then east, past the forts. Grofheim's far from Strand. Going to be a long march. You should have drank last night, Ludin. Why not takes the ships to Skrimmermere? Skrimmerstead. There we go. I got it in the end. Skrimmerstead. What's the point of marching? The Silverstone Bay is called that for a reason. It stays covered in ice all year. It would tear up the longships. Too bad, though. We could have shown you all the wonders of Skrimmerstead. A half-sunken city, crawling with dredge prints. Dredge and glaciers. You like glaciers? Excuse me. Ludenik sails through the nose, a poor disguise for his contempt. He turns and bats aside the tent flaps as he goes, barking at his company in the distance. Don't poke the ant-hill, Wagner. He seems no happier to be here than you. Spend a few days with the boy, old friend. You'll be looking for a tall cliff to hop off, too. Luden's got a shorter wick than Hakan. Thanks, Wagner. Let's get moving. Another half day to Vetterfell if we're lucky. Manage caravan. You can enter camp at any time by pressing the button. You can upgrade your allies or equip items in the hero's tent. Pass time by rest. Resting increases morale. Morale reduces casualties, increases willpower. Only rest when necessary. Keep your supplies in mind. Training tent will allow you to safely try out any characters. It's gonna make me do the level ups. Which is good. Once I show this off, I think I'll call it here for y'all, and tomorrow we'll be in with the second one. Yes, kills needed to level up right there. Looks like I don't have Eirik with me, probably because I said no, I won't help you. You have to spend renown here too to level up. It's not just getting renown in battle. Oh, and also look, it's not 2, then reset, then 5. It's 2, then 3 more for it to add to 5. That's good. I don't exactly know what the chain and the broken shield mean, and it's not telling me. Don't know what this is either. Can I increase this? No, not that I'm aware of. Maybe this is the amount of armor he can shred. Should I choose to go that route? For now, we'll just increase his strength and his shield. This would have been useful beforehand. Ah. So I was right about the break. Don't know what this is. Ah, we can adjust our preferred turn order here. I'd like that. Okay, but yeah, I think you get the picture here. This has been Banner Saga. Tomorrow we'll be going to Banner Saga 2 and likely comparing bits and pieces from it to this. And then day after, the same with Banner Saga 3, so you have that to look forward to this weekend. Thank you for watching. And until next time, Surave Nintu Manshimataishite.